Your mornings feel a little chaotic. Wouldn't it be nice to start your day feeling refreshed, fulfilled, and even prepared? Today, I actually want to share with you four super easy things that you can start doing right now to help ensure those smooth mornings from here on out so that you can set you and your family up for success.
Are you ready to stop the chaos, the stress, the overwhelm that's filling your life? I'm Renee Matt, and together you and I are going to build simple routines that are going to change your life. When you put these habits into practice, you're going to be able to organize your life in a way where you can be there for your family, pay off your debt, save money, your house can stay organized, you don't have to stress about what's for dinner, and you still get time for yourself. So without further ado, let's get started. Welcome to the Routine Advantage Podcast.
I'm so excited for this episode because I love my mornings. And even if you're not a morning person and you're thinking you are absolutely bonkers because mornings are the worst and I just want to sleep all morning, I can tell you right now that if you struggle in the mornings, even if you're not a morning person, you can learn to enjoy mornings based on how you set them up. So, yes, you may prefer to still be a night owl, and that's okay. If that is you, then that's you. But when it's time to get up, you can still set up a morning that runs smoothly so that even if you prefer evenings, then you still can enjoy your mornings and not feel like you just absolutely hate them and you want to crawl back under the covers. So I just want to say that right away that whether you're a morning person or not, you can have smooth mornings. And it might not be perfect right away. And the biggest thing is that if you take one or two or even all four of these things that I want to share with you today, if you take just one to start, get that really, solid and practice that over and over and then add the next thing in rather than doing all four at the same time because then it might be a little bit overwhelming and you might feel like it's too much, but just adding one thing in is going to be much easier. You can stay consistent with it once you start seeing the benefits of that and feeling like it's just become more of your routine in the mornings, then add the next thing in, and eventually you're going to have a really smooth running morning day to day. And life happens, so it might throw off a little bit, but the majority of the time, you can have really smooth and efficient and enjoyable mornings. So, I want to share with you four things you can do to set you and your family up for success. And number one is to establish a consistent morning routine for flexible structure and then making time for your habits and priorities within these morning routines. So, what I mean by this is organizing your time with what is most important to you based on your values and your priorities. So, let me give you an example here. So, let's say you've done a little bit of journaling work and you have figured out that one of your big values is to spend quality time with your family. And you know that evenings are primarily the time that you're able to do this. But you also have a priority to take care of your health and to start doing some workouts or do something within the health realm that is going to improve your fitness and your overall well being. But you don't have time to go to the gym or work out in the evenings because spending time with your family, because that is a value. You don't want these things to clash. You want them to complement each other. So, what you could do is split that where your priority of your health goals is going to be focused in the mornings, where you can tackle that right away in the morning with your morning routine to focus on those priorities. So then it opens up time in the evenings to spend time with your family, which is based on your values. So it's just kind of evaluating your day to see like what is truly important to you and where do you want to be spending your time? Because if we're not careful, we can just waste time getting distracted and doing all the things that just are coming at us throughout life that aren't actually, supporting our values and priorities. Now, there are obviously things that we have to do that aren't going to be in either of those categories that need to be done and need our attention. And that's just life in general. But we also want to make sure that we are prioritizing what is important to us. So, setting up a morning routine that helps you support this is going to be huge in how you feel in the mornings. And it's actually going to be a little more exciting to get up in the morning because you know that you can take time to do this. So, some things that you might be trying to accomplish in this morning routine might be planning your time and your day stack, looking ahead at your day and seeing, what do you have to do first? What comes next? What comes after that? And kind of going through the flow of your day so that you can feel really prepared about what is coming up and you're not going to miss anything. It kind of gives you just a time to focus, get it out of your head and onto paper so you can visually see it. And then a lot of times, if you missed anything or if you forgot about something, this is a good time that your brain is going to kind of trigger you to remember, and then you can plan ahead rather than feeling really reactive once all of a sudden it comes up and you are struggling to try and find the time because you've already taken the time in the morning to really look ahead at your day and you feel really prepared. This is also a good time to look at what you're planning for dinner. So you don't have to worry about dinner later. You can just look at what your plan was for dinner and you know that you are going to be prepared. You can also look at like those goals that you have. So are you trying to get a certain amount of water in each day? Are you trying to get movement in? Are you trying to get sunshine, in that first 30 minutes of the day to, reset your circadian rhythm? All of those things. Are you going out for a walk in the, brisk outdoors in the sunshine? What are those things that you are really wanting in the morning so that you can tackle those and you don't fall behind later in the day when all of a sudden the day gets too busy and you can't get to those things that are important to you? Do them right away in the morning. This is a great time because then you are going to feel more fulfilled and you can go into your day feeling like you have the capacity to serve others and to be able to, be there for your family or others that are calling on you throughout the day. This is also a time that you can look at, we want that flexible structure. So not only are you seeing what you are going to be doing in the morning, but you can also look at how much time do you have. So some mornings you may have a full hour to spend on your morning routine and you can get more things in. You can go do that walk, you can get your water, you can do some journaling, you can sit down and do a Bible study, you can do all these different things because you have a bigger block of time. But for some mornings, you may find that, your day is going to start a little bit earlier based on things that are happening in your day. So if you want to get, your full hours of sleep, unless you're trying to get up earlier, you might only have, 10 or 15 minutes for your morning routine. So what is most important to you to get done? That doesn't mean you have to skip the morning routine. You can just condense it to the things that are going to make you feel your best and focus on that so that you can prioritize that and still go into your day feeling really good and you don't feel like everything that is important to you is falling behind. I recently heard somebody say that self-care isn't selfish. It just depends on how you are applying it. So it can be selfish, absolutely, because if you are just focused on me, 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 then yes, it can be selfish. However, if you have the intentions of going through this so that you can take care of yourself so that you can show up better throughout the day for others, then it is not a selfish act. It is something that is a priority. And we can do that without it being something that is selfish. So if you have a hard time prioritizing yourself in the morning, just remember that like you will show up better for others by taking good care of yourself. The second thing that you can do to set yourself up for success is to prepare the essentials the night before. And this is going to help reduce any chaos that happens in the mornings. So, this could be, your morning. So, it's your morning routine supplies. Maybe it's a journal, your Bible, your highlighters, your coffee or tea setup. Maybe it's setting out your workout clothes and grabbing your shoes and getting that all set up the night before. And then if it's not for your morning routine, maybe it's your kids, maybe it's school items, maybe it's your backpacks, outfits, lunches, shoes, coats, their homework, their permission slips, anything that needs to be gathered for the morning, do it the night before so that you don't feel rushed that morning. You can go to bed knowing that everything is, put aside, everything is set out and prepared, and you can go to bed and rest well, knowing that you're still going to be able to get up in the morning, focus on your morning routine, and be prepared for everything else that's going to come afterwards. The third thing you can do is to review your meal plan the night before. So, this is looking ahead at your plan for your meals, knowing what you're going to do for breakfast the next morning. Do you need to make it ahead of time? Is it something that you could prep ahead of time so that your morning is even smoother? Is Your lunches. So, do your lunches or snacks need to be prepped? Do they need to be packed? Is that something that you need to do in the morning, or can you do it the night before when you're making dinner? Also, kind of prep the lunches on the side when something's in the oven. Like, look ahead at those types of things to see how you can set yourself up for success the next day. And then the other thing to look at is your dinners. If you are looking at this the night before, you can see, do you need to take anything out of the freezer so that it has time to thaw? Do you need to set something up in the crock pot? Do you have a slow cooker that you are making a meal in the next day because it's just going to be so much easier because you're going to be busy, and maybe it's like a chicken tortilla soup or something like that? Can you put all of those ingredients into the slow cooker crock and throw it in the fridge? So all you have to do in the morning is just grab it out of the fridge and toss it into the, base and turn it on. Like, there are things that we can do ahead of time to set us up for success the next morning, because then it's a lot less things that we need to do. I can't talk today. I'm like stumbling on all my words. But there's a lot less things that we need to do the next morning if we can look at all these things ahead of time. And when you're doing this, it does sound like a lot, where it's like, oh, this is going to be a lot of things the night before. But when you start to create these habits to look ahead, it just becomes something you do. And it really only takes a few minutes. For some reason, you are so much quicker at things when you are prepping them ahead than when you're doing them at the time. And I think that makes a huge difference. Like, you will be surprised at how quickly you can get a lot of these things done the night before, and your morning will just flow so much smoother. And the fourth thing that you can do is to not hit your snooze button. This one, I think a lot of you are going to be like, yeah, whatever, and be kind of upset with me for saying this, because I know a lot of people love to hit the snooze button. But I can tell you right now, there is even science behind it, that it disturbs your REM sleep cycle, or your REM, if you've seen that. Your REM sleep cycle, it disturbs it. So if you are hitting your snooze button and you go back to sleep, you actually need to be sleeping for another 3 hours in order for it not to interrupt that cycle, because otherwise you are going to wake up more groggy and more tired throughout the day, or like, and it'll continue throughout the day, where you're going to be feel more groggy and tired throughout the day. So it is so incredibly important to not hit your snooze button and go back to sleep. So what I would suggest doing, if you are somebody that loves to hit snooze because you love sleep, think about this. If you are hitting your alarm an hour before you actually need to get out of bed, think about if you were to just let yourself sleep the additional hour uninterrupted, and then set your timer for when you actually need to go or get out of bed, because then you are going to get a fuller, more restful sleep. And when that alarm goes off, you can turn it off, crawl out of bed right away, go straight to the bathroom and splash your face with cool water and brush your teeth. I guarantee you, you are going to wake up and you are going to feel way more refreshed. And then you're not going to feel as groggy and tired throughout the day. Yes, it's going to be a struggle to get out of bed, but if you do it quickly, it's not so bad. And once you do this over and over several times, you're going to start realizing how good you feel throughout the day. And you're not going to want to hit the snooze button, or you may still want to, but you're not going to want to based on how it makes you feel. So maybe you could let yourself hit snooze on weekends if you want to sleep in or something like that. But for the majority of the time, I strongly recommend that you do not allow yourself to hit the snooze button and go back to sleep. Just make it a habit to get out of bed right away and go do something that wakes you up so that you can feel rested. And then you're getting so much better sleep the whole night without doing this. And you're just, you can thank me later. And I would be curious as to how this goes for you if you do try it. So I will quickly recap those four things that you can do. And I hope you take them seriously. And like I said, try just one at a time, and then add it in another one once you have that one down for a little while, and see how this makes you feel. See what, shifts you can make, what your family needs. You can customize these based on what your family is, doing that day or that week or that season of life. Everybody's life is different. So take these as kind of like your base guide and adjust them as you need to. But test things out, see if they work well. If they don't, then tweak it a little bit and see what you can do instead that makes you feel really good. Or start recognizing, if you have a morning that is really kind of functions well and you're kind of like getting through the day and it's like, hey, I had a really good morning this morning. Think about that and think what happened. What were you doing? What was prepared ahead of time? How did the morning flow that made it feel like such a good morning? And if you haven't had any good mornings and every morning is total chaos, you could also think about that as what seems to be the trigger point of being just a nightmare morning. So think about those things and see how you can make small adjustments to just make them a little bit better each time. And you will very quickly start to see the transition. And all of a sudden, you will start to have those smoother running mornings. And you're going to find that when you repeat them over and over and just continue tweaking them to get better and better, you will have a completely different morning, you know, 3, 4, 5, 6 months down the road than you do right now if they are feeling chaotic. Just tweak them just a little bit each day and it will improve and you will find that they go smoother and smoother. And if you want, you can start with these four and then work your way from there to see if anything else needs to be adjusted. But I can tell you right now, if you focus on these four and get these four in place, you are going to feel so good. And I just hope that you do that because I want you to really enjoy your mornings. Mornings can be such a beautiful time of day. And if you are, waking up with your kids, I just want to mention that really quick before I do the recap. If you have little kids that are waking up with you and you're like, I just can't do a morning in like a morning routine or anything, it's just not realistic for me. It is okay to have your kids do a morning routine with you because we also want their mornings to feel really calm and, not structured in the sense that you have to do this, this, and this at this time, but we want them to feel part of the routine of being able to kind of function well and enjoy the mornings. We don't want high stress right away in the mornings going into the day. It's just not fun for anybody, no matter what age you are. So if you are, waking up with your kids, then if you're making yourself a cup of coffee or a cup of tea, do they have, a little water with a little slice of lemon that they want or something, something cozy? Do you have a little like cup of tea that they can have and have like a little tea party in the morning where it's just quiet and they can read a book and you can read your books? And if you're doing a Bible study, then what can they do? Can they sit down and do a little puzzle? Is it something else that they need to be stimulated by? Like give yourself some ideas and some thoughts and ask them even, depending on their age, you might be able to tell them that, you need a little bit of time in the morning to wake up and you really want to spend time doing this and that they can do something for themselves too. And what would they like to do? And just ask them. They might surprise you on their answers and they might be able to do something quietly in, their corner while you do it in your corner and you guys have a really smooth and calm morning that might just totally transform the way things that are being run so far. So just give it some thought, try it, see what happens, and you can just make those small changes. So, a quick recap for those smooth mornings to set yourself and your family up for success. Number one is to establish consistent morning routines with flexible structure and make time for those habits and priorities in your life. Number two, prepare the essentials the night before to help reduce that chaos. Number three is to review your plan for meals the night before. And number four, don't hit the snooze button. So I hope you enjoyed that episode. I will catch you on the next one. If you have been dreaming of finding the perfect paper planner, look no further. My favorite paper planner is the Dream Planner by Horatio Printing. They have nice thick pages, so there is no bleed through. There are simple, clean lines, so you can keep it super minimal if that's your style, or you have the space to get really creative if you like doing decorations or washi tape or stickers and all the things. There is enough structure to keep you organized without it being overwhelming. And there are even pages to plan your annual goals and dream, and even do a check in each quarter order. There are plenty of pages in the back, and this is where I like to track our marriage goals, my cycle, podcast progress throughout the year to keep this podcast going, my annual task list, and even habits that align with my goals. My favorite version is their black leather lay flat version, but you can also get other colors or even the spiral bound version if you are a spiral kind of girl. So I use my Google Calendar for my schedule, but if you have been listening to the podcast long, you know that I use my paper planner to plan out my upcoming week every Friday morning during my morning routine. This is a time that I can see my day stacks, I can plug in my priority tasks for the week and update my habit trackers to see if I am on pace to reach my goals. It is one of my favorite times of the week, and I love my paper planner. It's the only one that I've been able to stay consistently using throughout the entire year, and I love it. So once they sell out, they are gone for good. So you're going to want to grab yours quickly before they are gone if you want one for 2025. You can go to HoracioPrinting.com. That's HORACIO printing.com and use code Renae15 for 15% off your entire order. That's RENAE15 to get 15% off. You are not going to be sorry, and you will have so much fun planning the year ahead.